Hey guys, it's Chad.
And Claire.
This is CJ's Vinyl and episode 3 of Metal Monday.
Yep, recently we've gotten more requests for us to post more metal, so we thought it would be a good time to revive Metal Mondays.
Absolutely. And so basically what we're doing here, we wanted to show off our Blind Guardian collection on vinyl. Just recently I had been to a few videos on YouTube where I saw some other people sharing their Iron Maiden collections. And I thought that it was really cool because I could tell how enthusiastic and proud they were of their collections. And I'm sitting there and I'm kind of thinking, we have a lot of Blind Guardian records. So that could be pretty fun to put something together and share with people, like our metal collection of Blind Guardian. If you guys have been to our playlist page, you may have scrolled and seen our Blind Guardian playlist. There's a lot of videos we've recorded and then put out onto that playlist. So I thought that would be something to kind of just showcase our records and talk about them and talk about the band a little bit and why it is that we really like Blind Guardian as much as we do. So with that, I guess we could go ahead and jump right in.
All right.
So we're going to be doing this sequentially, starting from really, I think, their beginning point, going through. I mean, we could just wing it and just kind of do whatever, but I think it's better that we start from the beginning and just kind of work our way through the different albums that we have. So, all right. They started off as Judas Heritage in 1984. So that was 84 to 87?
Yep.
Okay.
87, they changed their name to Blind Guardian. And then the following year, in 88, they released Battalions of Fear.
Yeah. Starting off with the box collection from 88 to 2003. They had done this re-release of all these different albums for Blind Guardian because, I mean, in the beginning, they were pretty difficult to come by on vinyl. If you wanted Blind Guardian on vinyl, it was harder to find and you were going to pay for it.
And it's an import if you're in the US.
Yeah, exactly. So, but what was it, in 2018? In 2018, they redid everything and re-released everything. Yeah, and so now that was pretty exciting, I think, for us because in the past we had what are now, their original pressings, but
it's nice to have ones that we can play
and don't
more often, and we don't have to worry as much about
wearing stuff down.
Yeah.
All right, well, I guess let's go ahead and just start from the beginning.
All right.
With Battalions of Fear. And with Battalions of Fear, this is their first official album that they had released under the name Blind Guardian. And honestly, the things that people know about Blind Guardian that listen to Blind Guardian know that they're very Tolkien focused.
Yes.
And
the reasons we love them.
Yeah, and they basically come out swinging from the very beginning with Majesty.
Yep.
I think some of the lyrics that even come straight from The Lord of the Rings, or stem from, it's either The Hobbit or either both that or Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, starting with Majesty and then concluding with Gandalf's rebirth. You can't get much more Tolkien-y than that, which is wonderful. In addition, there's so many different musical themes, everything from Dvorak to Strauss. In addition to Tolkien, you have references to Stephen King. Ronald Reagan, Aleister Crowley, Monty Python, all on the same album, which is just awesome.
It's really crazy. And the thing about this album is, I like Battalions of Fear, and I'm really glad that they, did all these remastered pressings of all of these so that we could own the albums that, maybe we didn't have the original pressing for. I think this is the one album that we don't have the original pressing for.
Yeah.
And I think part of that, I mean, I like it. I mean, it's before they hit like the power metal scene, they did a few of these like more thrashy kind of style
thrashy,
albums.
speedy.
Yeah, speed metal, like very thrashy kind of style to it. And yeah, and Battalions of Fear kind of gives off that same vibe.
Yeah. Cool. Moving forward to next year, Follow the Blind in 1989.
Now, this one, here's the remake, but we also have the original pressing of Follow the Blind. Follow the Blind, to me, this one really struck my interest a lot more than Battalions did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I really enjoy some of the tracks off of this one, like Banished from Sanctuary, Hall of the King is probably one of my favorites, and then of course, Valhalla. And then you gotta love Barber and at the very end of the song.
I love it so much.
At the end of the album, they added that little gem,
bonus
I think.
Covers.
Yeah,
They're
bonus
just
covers.
delightful.
And that's one other thing about Blind Guardian that they do that a lot of other people don't really do, like those types of covers for metal. And that kind of speaks to, I think, who they are in terms of like their personality and like what they have really enjoyed.
A lighthearted kind of humor.
Yeah. Third studio album from 1990, Tales from the Twilight World. We have both the original pressing and 2018 import. This album, in my opinion, really started transitioning even some of the Stephen King stuff.
Yep.
We see here, like with Tommy Knockers.
Traveler in Time is reference to Dune.
The Last Candle is... Which reference was that?
It's the Dragonlance universe.
And of course we have Lord of the Rings on this album. And then Welcome to Dying, which is just a fantastic song. We're even in this time frame, we're still kind of like in this thrash, but kind of approach to it. But I feel like they started transitioning more into some of like the folk integration. Wow.
Then we move forward 2 years to Somewhere Far Beyond.
This is so Somewhere Far Beyond. This is where they decided they were like a folky power metal.
Yeah.
Journey Through the Dark, which is like my favorite song on this album. The Bard song, we have In the Forest and The Hobbit. The Bard song originated on this, which everyone knows the Bard song is like one of their quintessential tracks.
Time, What is Time, which is a Blade Runner reference. Told from the perspective of a replicant, which is just too cool.
Okay. Now this wasn't even released on vinyl in 1993. We had Tokyo Tales was released on CD. You could not get this on vinyl. It just didn't exist as a vinyl record. But this was amazing. This was their first
live.
This was their first official live album.
Yeah.
Tokyo Tales is an absolute must-have.
There's so much energy.
Yeah, we have Inquisition and Banished from Sanctuary, The Quest for Tanalorn, Time, What is Time, Majesty, Valhalla, Welcome to Dying, Lord of the Rings, Lost in the Twilight Hall, and of course, Barbaran. I mean, this is a double LP too.
Yeah.
And the thing that I like about this one that we got was the orange and black splatter.
Yeah.
You didn't see a ton of those in the in the German pressings. They had all these German imports that we kept seeing were like solid color. And then the splatter versions and other things that you could get, those were generally the US pressings for Blind Guardian.
Yeah.
But since we knew we were only going to be sticking with German imports, we saw this one was available on their website and we had to go for it.
Yeah.
And it was really cool because, usually these splatter LPs, they don't generally sound as good. There's generally a problem with them, or there's some other
problems.
like production issues with vinyl records that have those kind of designs on them, because we have a number of those records and we can speak to that. However, this Tokyo Tales release is remarkable.
Yeah,
how good it
sounds so good.
with all of those different
texture
of everything you would think would interrupt the quality of the music, but it doesn't.
Nope.
Not in this one.
Yeah. Looking forward to 1995, Imaginations from the Other Side.
Yes. This is one of their best albums that they've released to date. Now again, this is the only one that we own. The original that came out for Imaginations was only in picture disc form, and that one was much harder to find too. And generally, whenever I found it, it was near $200 for one single LP. And I knew that with as much as I enjoyed the album, I couldn't see us spending that kind of money. Because I mean, we have all the digital stuff of Blind Guardian. I mean, everything digital that we could want, we have, you know, but we also, now we can say that we have everything of theirs on vinyl as well, which is great, because it's just been so much more difficult for a longer stretch of time to get everything on vinyl. And so to have this in a form now that wasn't picture disc was really nice. It's kind of hard to say that there are some albums of Blind Guardian that you have to own, and then there's some that you just wouldn't want.
There's none that you wouldn't
There's
want.
one that you wouldn't want, but I mean...
There's like...
I mean, you know, we didn't...
Extra good.
We didn't go with Battalions of Fear for the longest time. We were kind of like, yeah, we've got CDs, you know, of that. We've got... But, you know, we never made that jump with the original Black under No Remorse, the No Remorse label. I never owned that one, but I don't know, I could never really bring myself to do that. But I mean, for Imaginations on the Other Side, I felt bad that we hadn't owned that one for so long, and I always wanted to have the record, and I felt like I was never really going to have that one. Plus it was a picture disc, so it was completely... You know, the sound wouldn't have been as good.
It looks cool.
It looked amazing, but you know,
over time.
With a picture disc, it's kind of hit or miss. We've been very fortunate with the picture discs that we have because of the quality that they've still put out.
Yeah.
The Forgotten Tales, which was 1996.
Yes, it was.
And man, this album.
Yeah.
This was interesting, but this was compilation.
Yeah.
So this wasn't a real studio album, but The Forgotten Tales was so much fun because you had things like Mr. Sandman, Surfin' USA from the Beach Boys, and that's the other thing about Blind Guardian is a lot of people that don't know Blind Guardian, they don't realize that Blind Guardian loves the Beach Boys.
And 50s,
they love
50s, 60s music in general. Like, it's just, they love it. And it's awesome. Moving forward a couple of years.
Yeah. In 1998, we have probably one of the most sought after Blind Guardian albums on vinyl, especially before they did all these 2018 pressings again.
For sure.
You only had the option, if you wanted it on vinyl, was this picture disc. And this is probably one of the most expensive albums that we have.
Yeah.
Single LP.
Yeah, that's true.
That we've probably ever paid for, but it sounds incredible.
I mean, the whole thing is all about the Silmarillion, which is just amazing.
The new 2018 release of it, though, was really remarkable because you could hear a lot of the differences, the things that they had done in their remastered. Completely remarkable. And I mean, I'm glad we have this album. I'm really glad we have the original. Because to me, I'm glad we have this remastered version that we can just listen to that as much as we want without having to worry about even the thought of wearing down this other collectible over time. But for someone like me who you know, seeks collectible albums of Blind Guardian, this is one that I just didn't feel like we could be without this.
No, it's true, we can't.
This was one this was one that would stand out to me as one of their greatest albums that they ever released. another one, speaking of
Yeah,
standing
moving
out,
forward a few years
to
though, 2002.
2002, we have the original pressing as well as the 2018 German import of Night at the Opera. And, you know, again, we kind of come back to this interesting thing that they did here with these remastered pressings with the font and the text. I mean, I guess I should say, like, they were all kind of the same when it came to the 2018 pressing, but they had this very interesting, on the original pressing, they had this, it's like a blue chrome kind of look to it, which was very interesting to me. And then, of course, the back, which was a lot different.
Yeah. I like the back on this one. The theater.
And you can see them sitting
there.
up here on the balcony, and then you have Gandalf sitting over here. Well, that's Gimli.
Oh yeah, I think so. Yep.
Wow. Talk about
just cool.
Precious Jerusalem battlefield.
Yep.
And then there was Silence. I mean, those are just the ones that Punishment Divine.
Soul Forged. And
then there was Silence, a fan favorite across the board.
Absolutely.
We've had so many different requests for that, you know, to keep releasing different versions of that. And this one is different than the original. Yep. So you have the original, which we've done for the picture disc that we spun, and then the original pressing that we did. Yeah. And I have yet to do it on the new 2018 release, but I probably will do it eventually. Yeah. It's just such a long song, and it's like really intense, but it takes that much extra time to keep releasing like such a long, drawn-out song, but it's worth it. Before they did all those repressings, we also had this this other version of And Then There Was Silence, was this picture disc single that they had done, which was really cool. I mean, just absolutely gorgeous, you know, record, front and back.
I love their dragons. They have so many dragons, and the dragons are just so cool.
There's a lot of dragons in this band. This one, which has And Then There Was Silence, and then Harvest of Sorrow. And once again, the Harvest of Sorrow was another reference point from the Silmarillion text that Blind Guardian had referenced in this album. Really cool.
And Then There Was Silence, of course, is the Iliad and the Odyssey. Truly epic. When you think of it epic, it's often misused, but their epics are truly epic.
Speaking of epic, I have
one
more
of my
epic
favorite album covers of theirs. Yeah. I love it.
Well, what do we have here? We've got Gimli.
I think we have Legolas, Gimli, and Gollum. That's the way I choose to see it.
Yeah, and then the Traveler. Yep. You know, I always thought that for picture discs, they sounded really, really good.
They really
from this
do.
album.
They do. They really do a good job with that.
And that's just interesting, because I always figured that, you know, most picture discs aren't going to sound as good. And then we got this one, which is the silver LPs. Yeah. And I think that those sound remarkable. I think they sound great. I think that the production of these just far exceeds what probably most people would have expected.
We're up to 2006 with A Twist and the Myth.
And we've got a few different releases for this. We have the main album, but then one of the other things that we had in our collection was these EPs. I really like these singles because you get a few extra things here. In Another Stranger Me, we get the Lionheart demo version, and then the Edge demo. I really like this version on this album a lot more than the originals. And I think for me, just having some of these extras that, you know, you can't get on the original, you can only find these on like these special bonus singles, always made it a lot more special for me. And wow. As a picture disc, it doesn't sound as good, but I mean, the songs that are on it are just, I love it. I love having this single. A Twist in the Myth.
Another hop forward. This is a few years though.
2010. At the Edge of Time. And man, do we have some
It's so good.
versions of this though? Well, we kind of have to have all of the different versions of this album. Wow, should I let you
All the things.
kind of take this one a little bit, or at least start off with this? I mean, this is your favorite album.
It is
isn't
my
it?
yeah. I think this is my favorite. We went to hear them on this tour. I just
That was in
love
Michigan.
it. Michigan. Yep, in Michigan. They were just fantastic, and this album live is just incredible.
Never in your life have you ever seen more dedicated followers than Blind Guardian
fans. Yeah, just like the respect and the connection between the band and the audience when they perform is just like nothing else.
We've got the original black vinyl, and then we have the picture disc, which is the more collectible one that we have.
Mm-hmm.
But the black is really important because it's like the one you really play and listen to. This collector's edition, which is number 273?
Yep.
The collector's edition of this that I had introduced a while back on, I think it was probably our first Metal Monday episode that I did. And I talked about how they took the original and they stretched it over 4 LPs. So you've got the 4 LP box set with the multicolored blue, red, magenta, and then neon yellow, which has bonus tracks of Sacred Worlds, the extended Sacred version, the Wheel of Time orchestral version, and then you have all these different demo versions of Curse My Name, A Voice in the Dark, and Tanalorn, Into the Void. This album, I mean, we've spun this a number of times, I think also just to listen and see if we could really hear kind of an even better quality, even from the black.
Yeah.
You know, is this one better? You know, we know it's a collectible, we know it's something that we always had to have, but you know, I think that since the grooves are wider, I think that there is something to be said for that in terms of higher quality audio.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, just what can we say about At the Edge of Time?
So
it's aside from the fact that it's one
Best
of our favorite. We come to
Memories of a Time to Come. 2012.
I was worried we were never really gonna get this album.
We did.
Because we eventually, came across this, and this was 2012 when they released this one. Holy cow. The mastering that was done for this, and the way I think pretty much most of these are re-recorded versions.
Yeah.
They don't even sound the same. I think a lot of these were probably integrated onto some of the 2018 remastered, but before you could even get your hands on the remastered stuff, you had a Memories of Time to Come. And this actually has all of their Lucifer's Heritage stuff on it too.
Yes.
Which we'd never had all of that. We that one album, that cassette that only came out in cassette form. They had released that one album, and all of those tracks are on here, I think.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure all of them are added onto this. This is 4 LPs for Memories of Time to Come. And I mean, we basically have a scattering: Symphonies of Doom, Dead of the Night, Majesty. We've got another version of Majesty on here, so we have 2 different versions: Follow the Blind, Valhalla, Bright Eyes, Mirror Mirror, Ashes to Ashes, Time What Is Time, Imaginations from the Other Side, Nightfall, and then there was Silence, Halloween, The Wizard's Crown. I mean, and then the Bard's Song.
Yeah.
This album
Fantastic.
is remarkable, and they had the multicolored ones for this too, but these are the black ones, the original black, which I am really glad that that's the one that we went with even having that option.
Yeah.
Is really good. So, Memories of a Time to Come, an essential must-have if
Yeah.
you are a hardcore collector of this music. And
Forward. Yep,
we
3 more
have
years. 2015 Beyond. Oh. we have an
2015
extra.
is from Beyond the Red Mirror.
Yep.
We have our picture disc, and we have the original black
Yes.
from Beyond the Red Mirror, which, like you said, 2015 was when this one released. What did you think about this album?
I really enjoyed it. It sounds really big, which is maybe not the best way to explain it, but there's a full
Presence
of
just intensity. But
Yeah.
I mean, I really do like the Ninth Wave, which is a great song.
yeah.
I love that song.
Twilight
Twilight of the Gods
so
is
good.
obviously really good, and anyone that has seen our intro to Metal Monday knows that I'm using Twilight of the Gods, the very beginning of the song, in Metal Monday intros. But people have probably figured that out if they're Blind Guardian fans. Another live album.
Yep. Beyond the Spheres.
Beyond the Spheres. And this is the, we went with the German
Yep.
import for this as well.
Forget how beautiful the colors are on these.
I mean, the amount of stuff that you get in this with the booklet and everything else is really good. But what did you think of this live album?
I'm trying to think, like, comparing it to, like, Tokyo Tales and comparing it to Bard's Tavern and comparing it, I mean, I love it because it has, you know, some of the newer things that I really enjoy, whereas obviously those previous ones don't. I mean, Tokyo Tales I still think it just has the most energy to it. Bard's Tavern I think will always have kind of a special place in our heart. There's just something really special about that. But I love this album.
This is a great album. I wouldn't say that this was one of their better ones, though.
No.
I remember getting all the way through it and thinking, that was a great album, but it didn't feel like it was like this truly intense, like Blind Guardian, kind of like what we've come to know of them.
Yeah.
It felt more like it was just kind of like it kind of felt like it was a filler. I don't know, what do you think?
I mean,
like the live albums that they had before, like Tokyo Tales and like their earlier time, and the same with their Bard's Tavern one. It's like earlier Blind Guardian, and it just felt stronger. It felt even more powerful. This one was good. I'm not meaning to say that like that
good.
Beyond the Spheres isn't good. You know, it is good, but it's not.
I think if we had maybe attended one of the concerts on this tour, it would have been different.
All right, and then this next one
2019
is gonna bring us to date.
Yep. Legacy of the Dark Lands, Twilight Orchestra. We've been waiting 20-some years for this.
Blind Guardian's been waiting 20 years for this
that's
one.
true. They've been waiting longer than we have.
Yeah, this, as everyone who's been following Blind Guardian knows, this is their orchestral album that they worked like 20 plus years to get this released. We ran into some interesting stuff with this album, didn't we?
We did.
We initially ordered the special edition of the box set, which was, well, 381
Yep.
out of 1,000. And there, I mean, this is chock full of. You can get these out.
Yeah.
We've got the special clear. These were all clear LPs, but they were flawed though, weren't they?
They were.
They had some real problems with
They
these.
had real issues. Nuclear Blast was, I will say, fantastic on resolving this. We contacted them. There was a lot of noise and static, but like crackles and pops, and it wasn't just static. It was just very bad quality. So we reached out to them. They sent us copies in black.
Do you think after all that time that this album is really what they would have expected to have come up with? I mean, I feel like this got so many mixed reviews from people. And I don't know if they were expecting this from something that was 20 years worth of work.
Yeah. I think for me, maybe if I was more invested in the story, it would have been way better for me. I mean, if they had done something else that was Tolkien related, I'd be like, just shut up and take my money. I will pay just here. But, I mean, it's not anything against the story. It's just I don't have a personal connection with it. So that's going to impact my perception of the album. It's beautiful. The orchestral arrangements are amazing.
The production quality is still really good too.
Yep.
Really fantastically done.
The voice talent they have did a very, very good job, I feel. So it's very well done. It just didn't connect with me, I think, in the way that I was hoping it would.
I feel like I created more in my mind of what I was expecting than maybe what I got from it. Mm-hmm. But I'm still really glad that we have it.
Oh, absolutely.
The Blind Guardian fan inside of me says this is something that they worked on for a really long time. I am more than happy to support that kind of investment and that kind of work and stand behind them, because that is what we do.
Yeah.
I think that's in part why we have so much that we do from this band. We have different incarnations of it, and it's one massive vinyl collection. So that we've had for how many years now? I mean, it's crazy.
Grown and grown and grown.
And then something else that we have that it's not straight up Blind Guardian, but it's Blind Guardian-esque. Yeah, Blind Guardian adjacent. I like that. Something that most people have heard of. It's Demons and Wizards, which is Iced Earth's lead guitarist John Schaefer, and of course Blind Guardian's vocalist Hansi Kirsch. This is the clear one that we have. This is the original picture disc of Demons and Wizards from their debut album of 1999, I think it was.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah. And man, so it's really interesting, you know, Demons and Wizards, the sound of Iced Earth, but with the vocals of Blind Guardian. So it's just this very interesting integration, a fusion, if you will, of like the sounds of the guitar from John Schaefer and the vocals of Hansi Kirsch. It kind of makes it this Blind Guardian hybrid. Yeah. And you know, we have gorgeous, you know, artwork and just the sound of this band. You get kind of like that power metal feel, but it's also kind of like a speed kind of metal. It's like a speed power metal kind of integration. 2005 was it? They released their second album. Yep. The Crimson King. No longer just a self-titled. But man, the artwork difference in this. Yes. From the cover, it really is remarkably different how they made this album so much different. I love this album. Yeah. I love Crimson King, and it gives me just that right kind of balance of like speed metal and but with, you know, kind of like that power metal delivery to it. I'm glad that we have the original and, you know, this gold pressing, which I had to get this kind. I love gold vinyl. For this whole series is the third and most recent Demons and Wizards 3 album that they had just released. Now, I have to say, you know, listening to the first two albums for as long as I have, I love the first two Demons and Wizards albums. I wouldn't say that this third one that released gives me the same kind of vibe like the other ones.
I agree. It's not that it's bad or like really lacking. It just doesn't have the same feel. And I mean, obviously you want bands to innovate and change, but still it doesn't feel as maybe true to their other releases.
Yeah. But that just about does it for our Blind Guardian collection that we have, and I hope that you guys really enjoyed this video. I know it was a little long, but
we had a lot of material to cover.
We have a lot of material to cover. So yeah, but that's about it. And if you guys have any questions or comments, just leave those below. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you guys on the flip side.
Bye. To the bards.